His eyes carried that same storm-gray hue, the kind that felt like they demanded something from the world just by looking. They swept across the room with that same intensity, as if daring it to justify itself. The officer introduced him as Caleb. Just 3 years old, found barefoot behind a gas station. No ID. No parents. Just a crumpled slip of paper tucked into his pocket, with my name written on it. "I don't have a child," I repeated. But my feet were already moving toward the room. And that's when I saw her, Lena. She was supposed to be gone. Erased, vanished, done. 3 years ago, I had been a husband. Not just on paper, I lived it. Believed in it. The vows. The unity. That you and me against the world kind of love. I started a tech company from scratch, and before the first dollar rolled in, I gave Lena half. Because that's what I thought love meant, giving without hesitation, without condition. She told me she didn't want children. I respected that. Didn't question it. She said she needed space for her art, solitude. So, I worked late. Kept the house quiet. Gave her the room she said she needed. I thought I was loving her. But I was just making space for someone else. The first red flag came in the form of a receipt I found stuffed in her jacket pocket. 2 milkshakes, one ordered with extra whipped cream. Lena was lactose intolerant. The second was a locked folder on our shared cloud drive. Labeled simply, Seattle. But we lived in New York. I didn't say a word. Just watched. Waited. She said she was heading to an artist's retreat upstate. 2 weeks. I told her to enjoy it. She packed a red dress, one I'd never seen before. She left on a Friday. By Monday, I was parked in a rental car on a quiet street in Capitol Hill, watching a beige townhouse through binoculars. She wasn't alone. This wasn't just an affair, it was a whole separate life. They called each other Mom and Dad. The man she was with looked older. Polished. Accountant vibes, tailored shoes, forgettable haircut, that brand of charm that felt like cologne, expensive, artificial, and designed to fade quickly. Lena looked lighter with him. Like she'd shed the version of herself she wore around me. And then there was a baby. A boy, maybe 6 months old. Wobbly steps, gleeful giggles. He stumbled toward her and she caught him effortlessly, laughing as she kissed his forehead. My lungs stalled. But I didn't yell. Didn't pound on the door. I caught the next flight home, made dinner like usual, kissed her cheek when she returned 2 weeks later, smelling like hotel shampoo. Over the next 2 years, I dismantled everything she had tethered to me. Quietly. Strategically. I bought out her shares in the company through a proxy firm. She signed the papers without a second glance, probably thinking of him. 6 months later, I filed for divorce. Gave her the usual line, "It's just not working." She didn't fight it. In fact, she agreed too easily. She got the loft in the settlement. I kept the cash. That's how I wanted it. Let her stay in the empty echo of stone walls while I rebuilt the world from behind the curtain. And then I waited. Waited until she stopped looking over her shoulder. Until she believed I'd never known. Until the man she was building that hidden life with learned the truth. About me, the marriage, the lies. He left her, I think. Or maybe he vanished. Either way, the townhouse went up for sale. Her social media went silent. No trail. Nothing. She became a ghost. And now, somehow, she had left behind a little boy, with only a name in his pocket. My name. Like I was the backup plan. The spare. The contingency. They asked if I'd take him home. Thought I was the father. I said no, clearly, without emotion, even as those storm-colored eyes looked through me. I told them to run a DNA test. While they waited for results, I began my own investigation. Not because she lied, I already knew that part. The real twist was in how far she'd fallen. The man she built her second life with? He wasn't successful. He was a fraud. A leech in a tailored suit. A financial predator. I followed the trail he left behind. It wasn't hard, desperate men get sloppy. He'd squeezed Lena for every cent she had, then vanished overseas. Thailand, under an alias. By the time he was gone, she had nothing left. No apartment, no savings, no safety net. Just a child she couldn't care for and a secret too big to bury. So she stuffed my name into that boy's pocket. Not because I was his father, she knew I wasn't, but because I was the only man she'd ever known who cleaned up after chaos. The DNA test confirmed what I already knew, no biological link. But I still had them call her in. She showed up at the station looking like rock bottom, pale, mascara smeared, shoulders hunched like she'd been sleeping in her car. When her eyes met mine, she froze. Like seeing a ghost in daylight. She tried to go to the boy. I stepped in. "He's not safe with you." Then I handed the officer a file. Everything inside had her fingerprints all over it. Her history of financial scams, the trail of aliases, the offshore accounts she helped her lover set up, each one tied to internal embezzlement from the firm he worked for. And at the center of it all, her name. Her signature. The file had been submitted anonymously. Just a concerned ex-husband worried about a child's well-being. They cuffed her on the spot. She shouted my name like it could save her. The boy didn't even flinch. He's in foster care now, with a gentle couple who send updates. Last week, they emailed a photo. He was hugging a puppy, grinning wide. Sometimes I pull it up and just stare at it. I don't know why. Maybe because he didn't deserve to be caught in the wreckage of her choices. Maybe because he got out, the way I once did. I'm not his father. But I am the man who documented every lie. And sometimes, that's all you need to bring a house of deception down. She tried to turn my name into shelter. I made it a weapon.